Welcome to the February edition of 71 Magazine. Joining me in the studio is Rosemary Conder, who is the Executive Director of CASA of the Ohio Valley. And also joining us today is Watson. So I'd like for Rosemary to introduce Watson to us.
Hi everybody, this is Watson. He is a golden doodle and he's 7 months old. He's a puppy and he is going to be a therapy dog for children in court. So he'll be going to court with us and laying at the feet of children and going on visits to visit some of the abused and neglected children that we serve.
Oh, that's excellent. He's such a good dog, too.
He's a good dog.
Okay, well, let's begin, Rosemary, with sort of a quick overview and mission of CASA.
Well, CASA is a nonprofit organization. We've been in Davis County for about 21 years, and we recruit volunteers from in the community to be a voice for children that have been abused and neglected that are caught up in the court system.
Okay. You know, one thing, transitioning, I've learned recently that the Chamber of Commerce, every year, they put together this list of community priorities that is determined by, I believe, the fiscal court and also the city commission,
Right.
and the chamber is also involved in that. You know, and at the top of the list is a second family court. How important is that?
It's critical. We sadly have an increased incidence of abuse and neglect in children and a lot of family issues. There's a lot of broken families, a lot of divorce, a lot of substance abuse and domestic violence and that kind of thing. So the caseload for the family court is incredible. They're having to run a lot of late hours and that kind of thing just to meet the needs of the families that we serve here in Davis County. So to have another court designated for family court is just a critical need in the community.
Okay. Now, I know Julie, I learned from you that Julie works 5 days a week.
Yes.
But there's only 2 days to where she hears the
Abuse and neglect.
abuse and neglected
and
kids.
dependency cases.
And dependency cases, okay. And that is where CASA comes into play.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes, we are, those cases are where we're appointed. We only serve children that have been abused and neglected or dependent because the families can't take care of them.
Right. Well, and one thing I want you to share with these folks is something that I've learned, because I've learned a lot about CASA lately, is these kids, when they're on the docket for these days, they literally have to get there first thing in the morning, and they may be there till
Midnight.
yeah, because and explain that how.
Well, a lot of it is the intention of the court to give the respect and diligence to each case so that they can try to hurry up and get it finished, permanent, get the children back in a safe, permanent environment.
Right.
So that's the goal of the state and the court.
Okay.
So sometimes a case that should take 15 minutes to hear takes an hour because you've got a lot of working parts in that. But the intention is to hear the cases, give them the time that they need, and then get them off of the docket as quickly as they can. So sometimes, like going to your doctor's appointment,
Right.
sometimes it just runs over, which pushes everyone forward.
Right.
But it's not because the doctor's taking a break.
Yeah.
It's because they're really trying to give you the time and attention that you deserve.
And I think people have to understand, these people can't leave to go get anything to eat.
No, no.
Because if you leave and you're called, now suddenly there's a bench warrant for you.
Right, and,
So-
and the attorneys and social workers, all of the parties associated with the case have to be there.
Right.
So when everyone is there and lined up, one person can't leave because then that really throws a wrench in the whole thing.
Exactly.
So it is an issue, and that's another reason why we need a second family court so that we can expedite these cases.
And Julie's been doing a fantastic job.
Oh gosh, Judge Gordon's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I even heard she's even brought pizzas in before.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We try to keep everyone happy. So
Yeah.
yeah, pizzas, snacks, drinks, those
Right,
kind of things.
anything.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I know children and child advocates are at the core of your mission, and you know, how many advocates do you have right now for the kids, and how many more are needed?
Oh gosh, we're really excited and proud to say that we have 42 active advocates because they are the most amazing volunteers in the world. But because of the increased incidence of abuse and neglect, we need more and more volunteers. So I would say we could easily use 30 more volunteers.
Okay.
Easy.
Okay. Real quick, as a child advocate, what is their responsibility when they get to the court?
Well, one of the things that makes it such a unique opportunity is that the volunteers meet with the child and get to know the child. They have a relationship with the child, and so their responsibility is to go back to the judge and have a report and say, this is what we feel is in the best interest of the child. Everyone else is kind of family focused or working on a case plan that involves the entire family. So the CASA volunteer's job is to learn what is the child wants and what the child needs, and then be able to relay that back to the judge.
Right. Well, that, that makes perfect sense. And these kids need that.
Oh, gosh,
They need that support and so forth. Okay, let's talk about a very important event that you've got coming up in February.
Yeah, we're really excited. On February the 28th, which is a Wednesday, at the Owensboro Convention Center, we're going to have a seminar. We're going to have different speakers. We're really excited to have a nationally known motivational speaker, Derek Clark, who is known as the Rapping Dad. And he comes from a very tragic background of abuse and neglect, but he has shows that resilience and being motivated really makes a difference in changing the course of his life, and he really gives a great message for people of hope and resilience. So we're really excited to be able to have him there that day. And then we'll have other speakers, and we're going to have actually a showing of a documentary called Resilience that is very powerful about adverse childhood experiences and how a community can come together and make a difference in the lives of children.
Okay. And that's especially important because we're also coming up on in April, which is
Child Abuse
Prevention
Month.
Month.
Yes.
So listen, more information to come on that, I'm sure.
Yes,
so people save the date on that one. I think it's going to be very informative, and you're going to be able to learn a lot of things about abuse and neglect. Okay. You guys have not been slowing down lately, and you've got some other really super exciting news about a newly formed sister organization.
We do, and CASA, the mission of CASA of Ohio Valley is very narrow. We recruit, train, and supervise volunteers to be advocates for child abuse victims in court. That's our mission. It's very narrow, but because of the needs that are identified in the community, we want to be able to reach out and do parenting classes, have therapy dog, have a room in the courthouse where we can have activities for these people that are waiting, lots of things in the community that are just a little bit outside of our mission but very critical to our mission. So our board of directors have created an organization called For the Children Incorporated, and it will allow us to have a Friends of CASA program that does events in the community to increase awareness about our mission, but also to be able to do other things that help provide some wraparound services that the families need so critically in the community.
And what you're not doing is you're not duplicating what CASA does, because as I understand it, these are things that you're not permitted to necessarily do as far as using funding for that. Right.
I think we're able to identify some needs, especially working so closely with Judge Gordon in the court. We're seeing things that need to be done that we just need to make sure that we're able to help provide or to help collaborate with other organizations. We're not trying to recreate something, especially that's in competition, but is an enhancement of our program.
Right. So I know you are in need of volunteers. You're always in need of volunteers. The newly formed sister company will you be needing volunteers for that?
Yes, and that will be through the Friends of CASA, where people that have a heart for children but don't have the call to be an advocate, then they will be able to do things like bake sales and help bring things to the court. It'll just be an extra way that people can volunteer to help children without the ones that really don't feel like they're called to make that big commitment to be an advocate.
Right. Well, I'll tell you, what I would like for you to share with folks is, and I've asked you this before on shows, draw me a picture of the typical advocate.
The typical advocate, geez, we have them from 21 to 78 years old. So as far as typical, I guess the average age is around 55. They're usually people that are moving toward retirement, that want to give back to the community, that have some free time. But on average, our advocates donate about 10 hours a month, so it's not a huge thing, but they just really have to have a heart for children, and that's what we see, is they all come to us and say, I love children, I want to help them, and I want to know what I can do for that.
And they have a really good support system there for them also, and I think that needs to be spoken about.
Yes, we have some trained staff that they are just incredible. They work really closely with the volunteers. They are a great support system for them, and they help them work through any of the requirements as far as writing reports and that kind of thing, making visitation. They go with them. They really are supportive. But we have a really great team.
Yes.
We really do.
Yeah. Well, now let me ask you this: when let's just say you have some folks that may be interested, and do you hold any sort of sessions, like informational sessions?
We
with them?
do. Last Monday, we have a session every quarter, an information session every quarter, and then we have training every quarter. So if someone was interested and they couldn't come into this next training session, then we'll have another one a few months after that.
Okay.
So we try to vary the times and dates of those so that we can accommodate the people's schedules.
Okay. And one last thing: how are you funded?
We are, by the great nature of our community, we have such a generous community. We have fundraisers, we accept corporate and individual donations, and then we're very fortunate to receive grants from the community and on the federal and state level as well.
Okay. Well, great. Well, listen, you got a lot of stuff going on, Rosemary.
Yeah, it's a great organization.
It is. It's a super
Yeah.
organization for a great cause.
Yeah.
How can people get a hold of your office and maybe get any additional information?
We have a website. It's casaov.org. We have a Facebook page, and then our office number is 270-683-2138.
Okay. Well, listen,
Yeah.
thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much.
And Watson, thanks for joining us too. You've been such a wonderful little guest.
You want to give him 5? Give John 5?
Can you give me 5?
Give him 5?
Give 5?
Give him 5?
I'll
Don't
take
lick
the
him.
lick. I'll take the lick. Well, thanks for joining us, and
Thank
stay
you.
tuned. Right up next, we're going to have Rebecca Horn with the Green River District Health Department, and she's going to be talking about the Quit Now Kentucky. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.